Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Tyler, and today I'm going to be bringing you guys what if Robbie won the All Valley tournament instead of Miguel, or what if Hawk never injured Robbie? I figured the first title is probably a little too long and the second one is more short to the point, so with that being said, I decided to go and change up the title and even change up the thumbnail, or I actually asked Toxic to go and change up the thumbnails. Shout out to Toxic, by the way, for making all these thumbnails for me. I appreciate them. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to be diving into this video. However, beforehand, I want to give a shout out to my boy Isk, who currently is actually making a YouTube channel of his own where he's posting a bunch of scaling stuff where he has Avdol over Dio. And if you guys are fans of, just power scaling or anime content in general, you guys should go and check him out. And I'll be linking his new video in the description along with Endless Requiem, who actually made my intro. If you are new to the channel, consider hitting that like button along with subscribing if you are a fan of Cobra Kai and want more Cobra Kai content, along with hitting the bell icon. That way you are updated and notified when I upload, because YouTube tends to be wonky with that stuff. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy, and yeah, what if Robbie won? Let's dive into the video now.
You was on some op shit. I was cruising down a nigga block with a chopstick. Rockstar nigga. Nah, I need a rock bitch.
So for this scenario to work, Robbie can't insult Hawk, which leads into Hawk being enraged, so he would never have a reason to really hurt Robbie. This means we get a final round between Hawk and Robbie where we see them going at it for a bit, but in the end I think Robbie's going to be in his focus state, and in this focus state he's just going to be overwhelming Hawk, and in the end Hawk is defeated. Obvious change being here that Robbie never got injured and Hawk doesn't lose via disqualification, he actually just loses outright to Robbie. The final rounds would soon begin, and I think Daniel and Robbie would still have that pep talk scene similar to what they had in the locker room, but obviously there's no medic. Rather than Robbie being hinged and only being able to rely on one arm, he is now unhinged and has both of his arms to use. So this means he's at his prime, unlike he was in canon, and we would then get into the final round, which would be Robbie versus Miguel. Miguel wouldn't be able to try and take advantage of Robbie's injured arm because he never injures his arm in the first place, so for the most part at first this battle initially is even, but once Robbie pulls out the two-legged kick and is in his focus state and is just kind of taking advantage of Miguel's anger, Miguel wouldn't rely on trying to attack Robbie's injured arm once he pulls off the two-legged kick. Rather, I think Robbie can use this chance to either pick up Miguel, and if he tries to do anything, it's not going to really bother him that much. Again, he's only going to pull an arm that's not injured, so he can just get the point off, or we can say that Miguel just loses to the two-legged kick outright. Could say because he's more unhinged, he took more damage, and the two-legged kick would just result in Miguel losing, but regardless, I think we can agree that this Robbie is beating this specific Miguel, who's just kind of just raging and trying to swing at Robbie relentlessly. Miguel isn't really trying to fight smart, and the only thing that he really does in this fight is take advantage of Robbie's injured arm, which he can't do in this fight. So in this instance, I think Robbie is going to be winning in this scenario, and in this timeline, Robbie wins. Now, I know it could have been easier to kind of have Robbie win, like maybe the two-legged kick one-shots Miguel this time and defeats him, but I just wanted to make it kind of realistic since that's not the case, and it's not really what happened in the actual finale, so I wanted to make it kind of legit and kind of have Robbie win the right way. So in this timeline, Robbie actually catches the W, and in this timeline, this means at the end, Kreese doesn't get revealed. Reason why is because the only reason Kreese came back was because Cobra Kai won. So it's just Johnny and Miguel going back home in defeat, but with Johnny saying to Miguel, no worries, they're going to be training even harder than ever, and that's how the season would end. However, we still get Season 2. Season 2 opens up, and I think Daniel would open up Miyagi-Do and get started on advertising it for earlier than in canon, which I know might be odd to some of you, but I mean, think about it. People must be interested in Miyagi-Do at this point due to them winning the All Valley. This means people like Mitch and Chris would join Miyagi-Do initially, never joining Cobra Kai at first, and Dimitri, I think, would come in earlier due to Miyagi-Do gaining popularity. Sam also joins Miyagi-Do, and Miyagi-Do is heading into the right direction initially, with already a class full of students. Meanwhile, Cobra Kai is deciding to start back from square one, and now they're going to be training even harder than ever before. Instead of Cobra Kai being cocky and them not worrying about training, they would be motivated more than ever to redeem themselves from their loss. Miguel and Hawk never get yelled at by Johnny, and Cobra Kai is just training harder than ever. Johnny never needs to get a new mirror, so he never encounters Robbie and Daniel at the store because, again, Johnny and Kreese never encounter, so he never breaks his mirror. We transition into episode 2 of Cobra Kai, where they never do the cement training, but they probably just train in the dojo for hours on end because the only reason they even did the cement training was to get them to stop slacking off, but they're not slacking off in the first place, so he won't need to do that. As for Miyagi-Do, they aren't going to be learning the spin wheel technique as that's a two-man technique, and it would be kind of weird to just teach them one at a time, so I think they're just going to be learning overall techniques that everyone can learn. You could have Daniel teach Robbie and Sam the two-man technique since they are the two strongest in the Miyagi-Do class in comparison to the rest of them. But it would have to be whenever everyone else is gone because he's not just going to be teaching only Robbie and Sam. And instead of the cement training along with the spin wheel technique, we would just get a training montage of both dojos training hard with a class full of students. Moving forward, we get Robbie moving with the LaRussos and Daniel this time being able to ask Johnny about this because Kreese isn't there. I think initially he would be shocked, obviously, about this, and I think he would just be trying to process this while Daniel would be explaining as to, his mother left him, and Robbie clearly doesn't want to stay with Johnny, and I think Johnny would think for Robbie, and for Robbie's sake, it would just be safer to live with the LaRussos, so he decides to bite the bullet and allow Robbie to stay with Daniel, but he's just maintaining his composure before he snaps, so he just gets out of the area as soon as he can. He knows this is better for his son, but again, it was a really hard pill to swallow because now his rival is taking care of his own son. He's doing what Johnny literally couldn't, and this just makes Johnny feel ashamed in himself. With this, he would then go home and he would drink for the rest of the night in sorrow, realizing his rival is now taking care of his own son better than he ever did. Now, other changes that occur are Miguel not bringing up Robbie to Johnny in public. Rather, he would catch him on one-on-one at another time, and he would talk to Johnny about this and as to why he never told Miguel about this, and Johnny would just say to Miguel how not now is a good time. Johnny would finish class that day, and once he gets home, he realizes how he denied Miguel initially, and he would then go on to get Miguel out the house, and he and Miguel would then go to that burger place, and he and Miguel can now have that scene that they did in canon, but for different reasons, since in canon it was mainly because of Kreese, but now it's because of Johnny wanting to tell Miguel about Robbie because he believes Miguel has the right to know. Johnny definitely did screw up with Robbie, but if there's anything right in his life, it's him and his relationship with Miguel. Miguel is the one thing that honestly kept Johnny moving forward. This scene is definitely crucial when you get Johnny already not having custody of his son, but rather his rival. I think this scene would just inevitably happen, and we need something like this for Miguel and Johnny to grow, but instead of Kreese causing this, it's just Johnny. Miyagi-Do does show up for the festival with more people this time, so we see people like Dimitri and Chris and Mitch up there with Sam, Daniel, and Robbie until Cobra Kai absolutely steals the show just like in canon, which means Tori still comes along with Stingray, and Miguel and Tori's relationship would blossom, while Sam and Tori's rivalry is also building up like in canon. Now, I want to backtrack a little bit and go back to episode 4. You see, Dimitri kind of causes a lot of conflict here because he would write the review that leads into Hawk wanting to jump him, which leads into the mall fight, which leads into Hawk and Moon breaking up, which leads into Kreese manipulating Hawk. However, none of that happens because 1, Dimitri is already in a dojo, and 2, he has no reason to go to Cobra Kai, and even if he did, he would never encounter Kreese, so he would never make that bad review on Cobra Kai. Dimitri would have no reason to make that review, and it just makes no sense for it to happen. So it doesn't happen in this timeline, which means no mall fight, and this means no Hawk and Moon breaking up, which means no Kreese manipulating Hawk, and there's no Kreese here in the first place. So Hawk never even steals the Medal of Honor, which means all the main problems in Season 2 are practically non-existent. Now, Johnny would still go out and hang out with his old Cobra Kai buddies, and in the meantime, Miguel would actually be in charge of the Cobra Kai dojo because he is the best in the dojo at this point, and during that, Miyagi-Do would be training, and Robbie and Sam would begin to form their relationship. Blech. When Johnny returns, we wouldn't get Coyote Creek, but Stingray does flip the script, and this time it would be in the dojo instead of Coyote Creek. And now finally we can get into the last 2 episodes of season 2, which actually are pretty significant in terms of changes. Now the house party is completely different. Because Hawk and Moon are together, Hawk never gets depressed, which means Dimitri and Hawk actually leave off on a good note because they're bonding over Doctor Who. There's also no built-up tension between Dimitri and Hawk anyway, and if anything, they're just friends that kind of went their own separate ways, but now they are slowly reconnecting. So it's more of a bonding moment rather than Dimitri and Hawk going against each other. Sam would still beat Tori in that competition, but she would be drunk. However, there's no Medal of Honor being stolen, so she would have no reason to go to Miguel. It doesn't make any sense for her to go to Miguel in the first place, and if anything, we can use this scene to have Sam and Aisha kind of rebuild their own friendship. And when the cops come, Robbie and Sam go to Johnny's house, which leads into Johnny versus Daniel, and Daniel then getting rid of Robbie and removing him from Miyagi-Do. Since Miguel and Sam never kiss, Miguel and Tori leave the house party together, and Miguel would obviously hear from Tori, and Tori never causes a school fight. So, since there's no school fight, there's still the Tori and Sam rivalry we have to deal with, which I think Johnny can apply his teachings to her since Kreese isn't here. And since her boyfriend mostly trusts Johnny, I think Tori would inevitably accept Johnny's teachings and Johnny would teach her to be the bigger person, and her and Sam would find a mutual ground. Season 3 is almost non-existent, with really just this season having Cobra Kai and Miyagi-Do slowly find a mutual ground and deciding to have a rivalry with each other, but a friendly one at that, and not really escalating it to the point to where they did. They as in Johnny and Daniel and during their time. Basically, they don't want it to be the 80s, which they both can agree upon, and Carmen and Johnny would never fall off and they would stay together, so I don't think Johnny and Allie would even meet up. If they did, Carmen and Johnny are still going to be staying together, and Miguel would find out eventually. As for Robbie, he might just join Cobra Kai because now he can't be in Miyagi-Do and him and Johnny can fix things, or Robbie can decide to go back to Miyagi-Do. I think inevitably it would still lead into a better relationship with Johnny and Robbie, because even if he joins back in Miyagi-Do, Johnny and Daniel are going to find a mutual ground eventually, which Robbie's going to have to as well. And if he stays in Cobra Kai, well, Johnny and Robbie can just, go from there. Sam and Robbie stay together, Tori and Miguel stay together, and overall this timeline is way more positive and way more of a happy timeline than I can say for in canon. So, because of Robbie winning, we actually got a better timeline. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new and want Cobra Kai content, along with suggesting a Cobra Kai video you want me to do, along with hitting the bell icon that way you are notified and updated when I upload. Go subscribe to Endless Requiem, who made my intro, and go subscribe to Isk, who recently made this new channel where he's power skills. He's a homie. Go check him out. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to check out my other videos, be sure to go and check them out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Have a nice rest of the day, everybody.